$80,000 a year. That is a solid Australian income, above the national median, enough to live comfortably in most cities. But if you are 32, your salary is not the most important number in your financial life right now. This is 28 years. That is the window between where you are now and 60. And in 28 years, $80,000 a year, not $150,000, not after the next promotion, right now on what you already earn, produces $1 million in total wealth without an inheritance, without exceptional investment skill, without timing the market perfectly, but only if you start this year. That is not a motivational statement, it is arithmetic. The numbers do not care about your intentions, they care about when you begin. And the gap between starting at 32 and starting at 37 is not 5 years of contributions, it is approximately $210,000 in final wealth gone. Not from a bad decision, from waiting until it felt like the right time. This video runs the exact numbers on $80,000 at 32, the take-home reality, what the super guarantee is already doing without you touching it, what 3 specific moves add to that baseline, and why, and this is the part most channels will not say directly, this salary at this age is a stronger long-term wealth position than an income that looks significantly better on paper. Start with what $80,000 actually means in your pocket. After 2025-26 ATO income tax rate and the 2% Medicare levy, $80,000 gross becomes approximately $63,600 a year in take-home pay. That is $5,300 a month. It is less than the $7,000 a month the $110,000 earner in the last video took home. That difference is real, but at 32, it is not the number that determines your retirement outcome. 2 people, one on $80,000 at 32, one on $110,000 at 45. Same discipline, same strategy, same 3 moves. By 60, one of them has built more wealth than the other. It is not the one with the higher salary. This video will show you the exact numbers that prove it. But first, the $5,300 a month. That is where everything starts. Compounding is a concept most Australians have heard about. Most have never actually felt the specific numbers. Here they are. At 7% average annual growth, a conservative long-run figure for a diversified Australian portfolio, money doubles roughly every 10 years. $10,000 invested at 32 becomes $20,000 by 42, $40,000 by 52, approximately $80,000 by 62. From a single $10,000 starting point without adding another cent to it. Now apply that across a consistent monthly contribution. $300 a month every month at 8% average return from age 32. By 60, that $300 a month has become approximately $340,000. Not from exceptional investment picks, not from timing anything, from 28 years of consistently doing the same thing. Here is the part that changes how you think about the window. At 42, the same $300 a month builds to approximately $175,000 by 60. At 47, approximately $110,000. The contribution is identical. The behavior is identical. The only variable is when it starts. And each year of delay does not cost you the value of that year's contributions. It costs you the compound growth of every dollar contributed in every year that follows. The window is the asset. At 32, you have the full window. Your employer is already putting 12% of your $80,000 into super. That is $9,600 every year going in automatically, whether you think about it or not, whether you check the balance or not. At 32, the median Australian super balance for your age bracket sits around $25,000 to $35,000. Take $25,000 as a conservative starting point. Run $25,000 at 7% annual growth for 28 years, with $9,600 added every year from the super guarantee. The result at 60? Approximately $940,000. $940,000 without salary sacrificing a single extra dollar, without making a single active investment decision beyond showing up to work. The ASFA Comfortable Retirement Standard, the industry benchmark for a decent retirement, not a luxurious one, sits at $630,000 for a single Australian at 67 and $730,000 for a couple. Your super guarantee alone already projects well past those figures. But that $940,000 assumes your salary stays flat at $80,000 for 28 years. It assumes consistent 7% growth, and it still lands $60,000 short of the million the title promises. So the question is simple. What is the minimum active move that crosses the line, and what happens when you add two more? In the previous video, this channel ran the numbers on a $110,000 earner at 45. 3 targeted changes from age 46. Salary sacrifice of $700 a month, ETF contributions of $400 a month, debt recycling on a $750,000 mortgage. Total additional wealth above the SG-only baseline by 65. Approximately $740,000. Strong result. The video's there if you missed it. Now run the equivalent strategy on the 32-year-old at $80,000, scaled down to the smaller income. Salary sacrifice of $300 a month, ETF of $200 a month. No debt recycling. The mortgage is not large enough yet to make it worthwhile. Just 2 moves. Total wealth by 60, approximately $1.46 million. Against the $110,000 earners projected $1.09 million by 65. The 32-year-old on $80,000, making smaller contributions over 28 years, comes out ahead of the $110,000 earner making larger contributions over 20 years. Not by a small amount, by around $370,000. That is what the window is worth. The salary matters, but the window matters more. And the channel will say clearly what most financial content does not. If you are on $80,000 at 32, you are not waiting for the right income to start building wealth. You are already at it. So why do most 32-year-olds on $80,000 not start? Not because they lack information, because they lack urgency. At 32, financial pressure is manageable. Super is ticking along, life is not in crisis. The natural response, and it is a genuinely human one, is to defer. To treat serious wealth building as something that begins properly later, once the salary is higher and there is more to work with. Call it what it is, deferred start syndrome. It runs almost universally through the $70,000 to $90,000 income bracket in the early 30s. And the behavior makes intuitive sense. Why act now when acting later with more money feels more effective? Because the maths disagree. Waiting 1 year from 32 to 33 costs approximately $48,000 in final wealth, not from a mistake, from 12 months of doing nothing. Waiting 5 years costs approximately $210,000. Waiting 10 costs approximately $380,000. At the far end of that delay, starting at 42 instead of 32, the $1 million outcome is no longer reachable at the same monthly contribution level. The window has not closed, but it has narrowed past the point where modest contributions cross the threshold. The urgency is not visible at 32, but the cost of its absence is. Here's what $80,000 at 32 can do. 3 moves, starting this financial year. First, salary sacrifice $300 a month into super. Your employer already puts in $9,600 a year. The concessional contributions cap for 2025-26 is $30,000. That leaves $20,400 of the cap unused every year. You do not need to fill all of it. Start with $300 a month, $3,600 a year. Those contributions go into super at the 15% contributions tax rate instead of your 30% marginal rate. The $300 a month costs you approximately $210 in take-home pay. Your fund receives the full $300. That $90 monthly difference is the tax system reducing the cost of building your own retirement. Over 28 years, salary sacrifice of $300 a month on top of the super guarantee shifts your super balance from $940,000 to approximately $1.23 million. That is how you cross the line, with $210 a month in actual cost. Second, open a low-cost index ETF account and automate $200 a month into it, tracking the ASX 300 or a simple global diversified benchmark. Dividends reinvested automatically, never adjusted when the market drops. The market will drop. Leave it alone. The investor who checks their ETF account every week and reacts to movements will always underperform the investor who sets it up and does not look. $200 a month from 32 at 8% average annual return produces approximately $229,000 by 60. Combined with the salary sacrifice super outcome, total projected wealth sits at approximately $1.46 million. Third, apply the carry-forward concessional contributions rule. This is the step most advice skips entirely and the one most 32-year-olds have never heard of. If your total super balance is below $500,000, and at 32 it almost certainly is, you can access unused concessional cap space from the previous 5 years on top of the standard annual cap. For a 32-year-old who has not been salary sacrificing, that gap could represent $30,000 to $80,000 of additional contribution capacity sitting available right now. That means a lump sum contribution from a tax refund, a year-end bonus, or savings can go into super at the 15% tax rate, well above the standard $30,000 annual ceiling. One phone call to your super fund or 30 minutes with an accountant confirms your specific carry-forward balance. Most 32-year-olds who do this exercise find they have more available capacity than they expected. The carry-forward rule does not require ongoing contributions. It does not require a complex strategy. It requires knowing it exists and asking the question. One step this week. Log into your super fund online. Find your concessional contributions for this financial year. Note what is there. Then go to moneysmart.gov.au and open the Retirement Projector. Enter your real balance, your current salary, then add $300 a month of salary sacrifice and watch what the projected outcome does. That number is not aspirational. That is the arithmetic of your specific situation. Most people who run this exercise for the first time are surprised. Most of them do something about it. That is the wealth blueprint for the 80K earner at 32. The window's open. The steps are not complicated. The only decision is whether this is the year you start or the year you defer. Subscribe for the Australian Wealth Blueprint series. Real numbers for real Australian incomes, no generic advice. Next in the series, the one super decision at 30 that's worth $180,000 by retirement.